Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Smokin Tobacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Smokin Nicole.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tobacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and I am joined once again by my very good friend, Mr. Mitchell Santaga, in beautiful British Columbia in the Gurkha Cigar Studios. Mitchell, how are you?
I'm doing great. It actually is a beautiful day. Usually when I come in, it's raining or snowing or something. But the last 3 days have been absolutely beautiful. You can see a little bit of sunshine behind me here, kind of cleaning a little bit of glare. And I'm feeling good.
My
Looking
life,
good.
my life, my life, my life in the sunshine.
Exactly.
That's you. Beautiful Canada up there. Is it snow? Is there any snow up there?
There's still a bit of snow on the floor, on the ground.
On the floor? Oh.
On the floor. Sometimes it seeps into the house. There's just so much.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, there's still snow on the ground. It usually takes a few weeks for it to do a full melt, but it'll probably be melted off in the next couple days.
That's good. I know you had a rough week last week. I mean, you had following our last week's show. I mean, you missed spare notes over the weekend. You were fighting something. It was not good.
Yeah. So I had a pretty bad stomach bug. I don't think I've had a cigar in a week and a half. I got it last Wednesday. I pretty much that night I woke up and it just was coming out of all ends. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's an image. That's an image.
Liquid projectile. No, it was.
I don't know how
it was,
specific you actually want to get with this on the show tonight, Mitchell. But
that's fair.
I feel you. It was painful.
It was painful. I pretty much stayed in bed for 2 whole days straight in shivers and hallucinations and fever and yeah. I'm feeling good now though. Enjoying.
That's good. I'm glad.
A really, really good cigar is my first cigar back. This is just hitting the spot, man. Oh my god.
Well, hold on to that because we're going to talk about that in a sec because we're not alone tonight. I know you're very excited about this, and I'm excited whenever this guy comes on. One of our favorites here at Smokin Tobacco, making his, I think this is his 3rd time on the show. I can't remember. This might be the 3rd time. But making his return to the Smokin Tobacco show, it is none other than the one and the only Mr. Pete Johnson of Tatuaje. Pete, what's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you been?
Good.
Been good. Just busy, smoking cigars.
I'm glad that you sound so enthused.
No, it really is. It's, we just got back from TPE. My wife's pregnant, so I got my hands full with that.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. I am embarking on that journey of life.
Yeah, just the beginning of a new chapter, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Exactly.
Every day is a new adventure. That's been my motto so far.
There you go.
How are you,
you know
though,
what?
Pete?
That adventure
good.
continues once you have the kid.
I'm good, man. It's been a busy couple weeks for us. We literally flew home. We were in Nicaragua for Valentine's week. We flew home a day early because the regional finals. No, I'm sorry. The district finals of basketball in category 5A was on that same Friday or Thursday, whatever the day we got back. Our boy won the district finals, and then they made it. Obviously, it went on to regionals.
Congrats.
And won regionals, and then they just won state champions on Saturday.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
Everybody's excited. The family's super pumped. A good high for everybody because it was the first time in the school's history that they ever made it to the finals and the first time that they ever won. So, obviously.
It's a big deal.
I guess if you weren't there, you weren't going to win anyway. So, yeah, but the first time they ever got there.
Wow.
So, big deal. Everybody's super happy. I think they literally the principal called off school just so we all can drive 4 hours to see the game. But, I mean, what a way. He's a senior. He's the middle kid in the house, and he's a senior, and this is a great way for him to go out on a high note of his senior year. So we're happy for him.
Go out on top. It's the best way. It's the best way.
Good kids, too. Good kids.
Hey, that's all you can hope for.
Crazy story about this school, though. The school was actually in Cuba originally, and Fidel Castro went to that school. When he took over the island, he kicked the Jesuits out of Cuba. So the school started over in Miami. George Padron went to this school. He's an alumni of the school.
I
George
remember
Padron's kid went to the school.
You talked about this
A
before.
bunch of people. Christian Heroa's middle kid or oldest son is a graduate of the school. He graduated with our oldest son. It's definitely a cigar school. A lot of cigar companies, kids have gone there. It happens to be right around the corner from the house, so it's easy for us. But yeah, it's a great school. The joke is that the school was built off of Bacardi and Coke because Bacardi gave them the land, and there's an annual endowment from a will of the president of Coca-Cola, who was a Cuban man. So built on Bacardi and Coke.
I feel like I remember you telling that story before, and it makes sense because I remember last year at PCA, I noticed there was a large amount of the younger generation of kind of that,
yeah.
And they were all together, like Padron's kids and like Lito Jr.
It's like they
was
knew each other.
together, and like they were all together. And
well, Lito Jr. went to a different school. I can't remember what school he went to, but it's definitely a community thing around here. And the Belen alumni, like, they take care of each other like nobody's business. So if you're like, I didn't graduate from there, obviously, but the Belen community is a pretty solid community, and they kind of take care of their own. And it doesn't matter what grade they were in, they get together and they're Belen, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Sounds like a great school.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, every year at their fair, there's actually a cigar smoking lounge, which is awesome.
I mean, it should be, yeah.
Although I was a little bit bummed out. It used to be like I'd go to the fair and I'd buy a box of cigars for a pretty decent price, but this year they raised the prices.
Seems like everyone's on board with that.
Yeah, everything's going up.
What was your celebratory cigar for the win?
Actually, I've smoked many, but there was a couple of the things that I make in Miami that I was really just saving for those particular moments. But when we finished the game, well, when the kids finished the game, not us, but the parents think that they played also. When we finished the game, we had to drive like almost 4 hours back to Miami because everybody was meeting back at the school, and then we had people over at the house until like 4:30 in the morning.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure you guys partied hard that night.
It was a good time, and like again, it was a big deal for the school to get there and for them to win. And win with an undersized crowd. That's my buddy from California standing behind me, walking through the courtyard.
Hey, he's enjoying it.
He's like, wait, am I in?
He's video bombing the interview right now.
Yeah.
So, Pete, as you know, well, you would know better than I, obviously. There's always that one parent at like the school event, especially the school game, right? With the kids' games.
Yeah.
There's always that one parent, though. I was gonna say, are you that one parent that's just like, all right, it's the Johnsons again? Oh my God.
No. I was so on the semifinals game at State. It got down to the wire. Like when I say down to the wire, I looked behind me and there were people sitting in their seats, very like, kind of like depressed, like, okay, they're gonna lose the game. And I kept on telling people to stand up and get behind the team. And the president, head priest of the school, and the principal were sitting behind me telling me to sit down. I'm like, no, you guys stand up. And they literally, when I tell you they won by the grace of whatever. Literally, the kid who shot the last shot it short. And he's obviously the best player on the team. He made the All-Star team. He shot it short, but magically one kid had the mindset to see that the ball was going short, and he alley-ooped it.
Oh.
and put it in the basket with 0.7 of a second left.
Damn.
Jeez.
It was amazing.
That's like storybook ending. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic.
So, and the next, obviously the finals game, we were all, happy that they got to the finals. But the finals game, they won by I think it was by 19 points. So they did really well.
That's a pretty safe win.
Yeah, that's a good win.
But I stood up the whole game and I was yelling the whole time.
So you're that dad.
Well, not really. Actually, one of the best guys that shows up, his kid graduated last year.
Really?
And he still shows up to every game, and he gets the crowd going. So it was a good win for him too.
That's good. That's good. Team's got some spirit behind it. That's awesome. What
They had 1,500 kids show up. 1,500 people show up to this game. Like
to the finals game?
The people at the arena didn't realize that the Bell End community was so strong to the point where they were printing T-shirts after the game, like championship T-shirts, and they couldn't keep up with it. They had orders for 500 shirts that they were trying to print on demand.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Really
We
good
can
time.
barely get that many to like a Canucks game. Never mind, high school.
I know, really.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man, and just to be part of it was a great time. And I'll be honest, I was pretty loud because I wanted these kids to be, I wanted them
Loud
to
and
win.
proud.
So I figured I would scream as hard as I could. I lost my voice for a half a day. My wife literally lost her voice for 2 days. So we had a good
I was
time.
gonna say,
Proud mom, by the way. Very proud mom.
Well, I mean, arguably, the mom is usually the what's the word I'm looking for, or the term I'm looking for? Like the dad is influential, but like the mom is like the soul and the love behind the child.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So
absolutely. But the cool thing about, the cool story about this whole thing, if I can talk for a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Josh, who's the middle kid, he's a senior now. But when he got into the school, he was a sixth grader, and his older brother was going in as a freshman. And Belen, of course, never had a basketball team. Like they had a basketball team, but not a good enough team to go anywhere.
Right.
And the kids walked through the gym and looked up all the banners, and they wanted to be basketball players, both of them. Our oldest ended up becoming a volleyball player. He's actually going to school for volleyball and obviously academics, but for volleyball. But they looked up at the banner and said, "Mom, they don't even have a good basketball team. They don't even have a banner." Like they did. The last time they were in districts was 1976. And I looked at both of them. I said, if you're going to come here, forget about those banners. Come here and make your own history. What they do? They did it.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
That's an awesome story. Especially when you get
that's pretty epic.
So the backstory all the way to the fairy tale ending of that game to go to the finals, and then they kill it in the finals. Yeah, and then they get you. I mean, wow. No, that is awesome. That is awesome. And good for you, getting the rally going. I mean, there's most people are too shy. They're just like, let's just sit here and just hope it gets better. It's like, no, get it going. Let's go. Let's get the rally.
When's the Netflix special coming out?
But Matt, I'll tell you, this set of circumstances could become like a made-for-TV movie, or even like a We Are Marshall type of story, or Hoosiers type of story, where it's like, how the hell? Because our boy is the tallest kid on the team, and he's 6'4".
That's not really
the
tall.
tallest person on the team.
It's not for basketball. Yeah, it's not really tall.
They've been considered the underdogs the whole way. They were always the smallest team on the court, but they're just aggressive, and they can shoot. They know how to shoot three-pointers. So
that helps.
It was pretty amazing. Yeah, that obviously helps. But but yeah, they were counted out multiple times. I mean, we walked into gyms where they were playing against teams. I'm like, is this the college team that they're playing against? Like who? Like way bigger.
Yeah.
Some kids were like 6'11", 7 foot,
Yeah.
and they still beat them.
MJ was only 6'4", I believe.
No, he was 6'6", right? 6'6", 6'7".
No, I think he was only 6'4".
No,
I don't
Maybe
think
he's got to be way taller than that.
I don't know why. I thought it was only 6'4". I could be wrong.
One of my favorite guys. He's one of the assistant coaches at the school. His name's Angel, and Angel actually played on the Cuban national team and played against Jordan in 1994.
Damn.
That's pretty cool.
And
I looked it up. I was wrong. MJ's 6'6".
yeah, okay. But Angel's like probably one of my favorite guys out there, and I think I gave him a bigger hug than I gave our kid. I was just really happy for him. But now we're waiting for Angel's youngest to become a high schooler. He's in 6th grade, and he's taller than our 9th grader.
And is he going to the same school too?
Yeah.
Well, then hopefully he, keeps that.
Continues the legacy.
Yeah, you got to keep it going. You got to have those new players to keep pass that torch. Keep it going.
Enough about basketball. It was a great week, though. But thanks for indulging me.
No, absolutely. This is your time. You came on the show.
Yeah.
This is your time to talk. Thank you for sharing that story with us. That's I'm not gonna lie. That's fucking badass. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if you saw it, I posted actually the final alley oop of the semifinals on Instagram, and people were like, "Holy crap!" Like,
you got it on video?
Just magical. Yeah.
I have to
it's
find.
Pretty nuts. Our youngest was sitting in between my wife and I, and he goes, "I got video of it." I go, "What made you do that?" He goes, "I just felt like something was going to happen."
Yeah.
So you see the ball go in, and then you see his camera shaking.
Of course.
Couldn't contain himself.
It was a good time, though. It was a good time.
So, guys, let's talk about what we're smoking tonight. Our cigars are once again brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. If you head over to the number 2guyscigars.com, you can find an amazing selection, one of the widest and biggest selections of cigars in the industry, only at the number 2guyscigars.com. Pete, what are you smoking with us tonight?
Well, I've already burned through it because when I talk fast, I smoke fast.
Me too.
But it's the Taiwan Britannica from last year.
Cigar.
I can't get a good, clean picture of it. I should have pulled out the real camera tonight.
Those are great. Those are awesome. Mitchell, what are you smoking? I forget. Did you decide what you were going with? Oh, yeah. You went with the T110.
Reserva T110, broadleaf, number
Nice.
3 cigar of the year, Smokin Tabacco list. It's,
That's right. That's right.
Man, it is smoking really well. Just so complex, so much flavor. And again, I don't think I've had a cigar in like a week or maybe long.
Yeah,
about a week.
So you had a stomach bug, and your bright idea was, hey, my first cigar back is going to be,
A T110.
a T110, which, it's one of the strongest cigars ever made.
T110 and
Well,
some Michter's, some Michter's Rye.
maybe one of the stronger ones we've made, but there are definitely stronger cigars out there.
Well, yeah, by you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
By you.
Flavor-wise, it's definitely delivering on like the higher end. It's packed full of flavor.
The key is to have the strength, but to have a lot of flavor around it, so it doesn't feel as strong.
Right.
My palate is like still feels super clean. I think I've taken like 2 sips of a drink, and it feels still great. It's not feeling overpowered, and you just have to pace yourself. And this thing is burning perfectly. I don't have to be puffing on it like a chimney. I just take a nice, 1 to 2 slow draws, and it's delivering a huge amount of smoke.
Well, first of all, you have to take into 2 things, right? That cigar was blended by Pete, but it was made at the factory of the year, which was at My Father's Cigars, SA in Nicaragua.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. I do remember the factory of the year.
So you got.
Hey, listen,
got a lot
without
going
that
for
factory, my work is non-existent. So
There would
have
be no
to thank the
Tatuaje.
factory for everything.
And
True.
No, it's. What
and
are you smoking, Matt?
Maybe there would have been a Tatuaje, but it wouldn't have been as good. I really have to think. I have to put a lot of weight on the factory because they give me good tobacco to play with.
well, yeah, that definitely helps. And I mean, the history with your brand and that factory, I mean, it's almost like the perfect marriage, and no pun intended, but, but no pun intended, but I mean, it is for multiple reasons. But no, I mean, it really, I mean, it's, you know, and it's not even just your stuff. And I believe I wrote this when the.
I love it. Hold on, Mitchell's about to get washed out from the sun. I love it.
Oh, I've gotta move my barricade.
You got to pull the shades down when you do
Okay,
it.
sorry. Say it again. Perfect marriage.
No, it's okay. When I wrote, first of all, by the way, before I forget about it, I'm smoking the El Triunfador Lancero. So I remember when I wrote the award article for the website when the award came out, I put in there, it wasn't just, you know, the stuff that they do for you with Tatuaje and all the stuff that they do like for Ashton with La Roma de Cuba. I know it was made there.
All the stuff they do for John Huber.
Crown Heads Las Calaveras. Yeah.
And of course, all the stuff they do for themselves.
Exactly. I mean, it's like they make killer cigars for themselves, and they make killer cigars for other people. And there's a lot of factories out there that make a lot of cigars, and they make good cigars for themselves. They make a lot of cigars for other people that are good cigars, but maybe they don't get enough recognition. Like it seems like everything that comes out of my father, whether it's their own stuff, it's your stuff, it's anyone else's, it's all. Every brand has something that's critically acclaimed out of that factory.
I will say this: I think sometimes it might be a little bit of a flaw in the sense that every cigar that they make, regardless of the price point, the same amount of care goes into the $3 cigar as the $70 cigar.
Right.
So it ends up being problematic because people will look at like, well, I can smoke this $5 cigar and it's amazing. Like, what's really the difference between this and the next one is because they care about every single cigar. There's no like, well, these are cheaper, so let's make them with less quality. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's always a similar quality that goes through everything that the factory produces.
That almost kind of reminds me, it's weird, but it almost reminds me, like, when you hear the people say, like, I treat the janitor with the same respect as I treat the CEO or whatever. It's kind of like the same thing. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is or what it is. Everything gets the same amount of attention, quality, respect, regardless of what it is, whether it's a big deal or it's not a big deal. That's how you really maintain that consistent
I would say
quality.
I would probably say I treat the janitor better than I treat the CEO. That's just me.
He definitely shovels more shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the hardworking person. Sometimes the CEOs are not always that hardworking. So
yeah, I could see that.
Of course, me excluded.
Well, sure. I mean, if you're making your own rules, you know. We're cutting and lighting our cigars tonight with Cigar Blondie accessories. I'm using the Cigar Blondie Slim Lighter as well as the Double Guillotine amazingly sharp cutter. Available in 3 finishes, chrome, white, and black. Only available at cigarblondie.com. Yeah, no, it's funny. We've talked a lot about you, my father, a lot of cigars that came out of that factory. There was a few others on the list. I can't remember them all off the top of my head on our list. I know Las Calaveras is made at that factory. That was on our list. You know, talking to Coop. Coop's been smoking the 100 Años.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now. So it's funny when the lists and stuff come out. I like to go back and forth with Coop a lot. And as most people know, he keeps his list under his mattress. Like his wife doesn't even know what the cigars are on that list until they go out online. And but I know he does it off of his rankings. And it's funny because I think our list came out. I think we completed our list before his finished. So we had already announced your cigar was at number 3, and I knew how much he loved that cigar, and I knew he rated it really high. And so I'm watching the list, and I'm not seeing it, and I'm like, oh man, this cigar's number 1. I'm telling you, he gave it number 1, and he gets down to 4, and I go, all right, I remember texting him, and I go, if you don't give the T110 Reserva number 3, it's number 1. That's my guess, right? And he's like, oh, we'll see. I'm like, I'm just throwing it out there. And I think it ended up on number 3. But I was surprised. I really thought he was gonna go number 1 on that cigar.
I'll take 2 number 3s.
I really thought he was going number 1. I know how much he loved that cigar. It was great.
I'll take any number as long as it's on a list.
Yeah. But no, really, that cigar. I mean, you've made a lot of great cigars, but that cigar was just, I couldn't get enough of it. And I liked all the blends. Mitchell, I don't know if you had all of them, but I've had all those 3 variations this last run. I know you did the Habano, you did the Sumatra, and then the broadleaf, and they were all great. I would say, obviously, the broadleaf was my favorite, and I'd probably put the Habano second. But man, those were really good, and I was really excited that when it came awards time, I knew, I'm like, this cigar is definitely on the list. It's definitely going to be at the top. And those top 3, I mean, I remember me and Mitchell were going back and forth. I mean, it was tough. Though we got down to the 3,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this is the hardest fucking part. Is just the last 3. It's like,
It always is the hardest.
but
Any given day you can, like, and again, you have, well, at least with our list, you have 3 cigars that fill in 3 very different things. And like I said, at any given day, the way you're feeling, the way the cigar performs, it can bump up there, right? So it's
right.
Yeah, it 1, 2, 3.
Well, here's a good
interchangeable.
analogy, though. Here's a great analogy. In all the lists, well, maybe there's a couple that I was able to get higher up, but most of the lists, I've never made it past the semifinals.
Really?
I never made it to the final game. There's a couple lists that I've obviously made number 1 on with a few different brands, but yeah, I'm always the semifinalist. My wife gets to go to the finals a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's the other thing too. I remember we were talking about this recently. When it comes to TAA cigars, right?
Good, for sure.
The last couple of years, the TAA releases, I mean, I haven't loved a lot of them, but there's been a few names that I've consistently said, like, these are, every year when they come out, they never let me down. And it's Tatuaje, which I feel like Tatuaje is probably one of the most recognizable TAA cigars. I feel like, at least in my opinion, from what I see and what I hear, I feel like Tatuaje and probably La Flor Dominicana are like the 2 that I see and hear the most about, the most that people are talking about, the most that shops promote. Those are always such a big deal, which I know that you've just shipped those for, was it for 2022 though? Was it your 22 TAAs?
Yeah, we were a little late.
And your PCA.
You know what it was? Yeah, you know what it was? At the end of the year came, and we were so full with releases last year that by the time we looked at this inventory coming up, I literally told the guys, I said, let's push it till next year. Because we didn't need it. You know what I mean? Like, we could let it sit longer and rest longer and then eventually come out with it. Yeah, last year was busy, so it was nice to take a break.
It was a busy year, and it seemed like a lot of people had a lot of things coming out. We talked about this on Mitchell. I know you weren't on the show on Saturday, but I know you probably saw it. But
I listened to it.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about, and Pete, as someone on this side of the table, you know, being in the factory, you could probably speak to this, but I think a lot of what we saw last year was the beginning of the pandemic releases. So when people couldn't be on the road traveling around, they had more time to be at home, or maybe just go seclude themselves in the factory once they were open and work on different projects. And because I know several manufacturers who said that's what they did. They just, I'm just going to work on new projects because I can't go do anything else. And, you know, now 2022, 2023, 2024, you're starting to see all these releases come out, all these projects that people were working on during the pandemic. And it just seemed like there was a shit ton of stuff that we saw last year that came out of just everywhere. It was like everyone had, PCA was busy.
We definitely got to play a lot more because it was constant. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not traveling. Let me get some more samples of this so I can try that to see where I want to fit it into the next lineup. But we have shit planned all the way through 24, so we're good for a little bit.
Now, do you expect kind of, like 2023 and 2024 to look similar to a release schedule like 2022, plus or minus? How do you feel?
Yeah, not as crazy, but some of the releases are slightly bigger. So I think quantity of cigars might be around the same, but not as crazy. Like I mean, the big one that everybody's waiting for, and I'll mention it now. The first week of we go to the TAA at the end of March,
Right.
and as soon as I get back from the TAA, 16 pallets of Loma de Cerdo, the pork tenderloin Tuxla, is going to be they're going to be waiting for me, so I have to make sure that those go out the first week of April.
And then
that's going to be a big drop.
That's a big drop. It was a big production, and that was mainly because of we brought it to the trade show last year, and we kind of let people order it. And when we started looking at the numbers, we're like, okay, this is much bigger than I expected.
And I forget, how many did you make on that?
Let's just say a lot.
Okay. So they shouldn't be too hard to get a hold of.
It's still but again, it's a one and done. But it's still smaller than some of the limited edition releases that Cuba makes. So
Jay Davis is here. Jay Davis said Havana Cellars has been on a tier of super high quality releases in the last 24 months. So Jay, if you're still here listening and you just heard what Pete said, just know I might be calling you looking for some stuff. Jay's my guy. So I'm just throwing it out there, Jay. Just don't. I'll be calling you. No, and then I noticed that you guys have announced that you're also going to ship the TAA and the PCA releases again later this year.
that's the plan. But if we get towards the end of the year and we feel the need to push it, we will.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just sent each organization their contribution from the sale of those cigars. So when it comes to November, the contribution will probably be to them somewhere in December. But if we do push it, it will probably be towards the beginning of the year again.
Oh, okay. Now, one of the
Jay Davis.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Well, Jay, they're in master cases of 30, so I don't know how many. I can't remember how many you ordered, but they're in master cases of 30.
Jay, just as long as you put one aside for me, that's all I care about. One of the things that I know you had a lot of stuff last year, and you as we said, you're still working on getting that out, and I'm sure you got more stuff planned for PCA. We can touch on that later. But one of the things that hasn't come out yet that people know about is your collaboration that you're doing with Abe with the Anarchy NFT.
Oh yeah.
So Abe has been on the show. He's talked a little bit about it. Now that you're here, we're going to kind of pick your brain on it. So first thing I want to ask is, at what point did you guys decide to do this project? Was this before or after you guys saw what LFD did with theirs?
Well, I'll be honest. Abe called me during the whole LaFleur thing and said, I want to do one. And I want it to be Anarchy, because Anarchy still to this day might be one of the biggest single store releases like ever made, and most popular releases for single store releases in the industry for a long time. So Abe's like, this is the perfect last dance for the Anarchy, to have it as an NFT. And when I tell you what Abe has put together, I'm literally riding on his train with this one, because he's the guy that has everything going on. I'm the lucky guy that gets to make the cigar and make the humidor for it, which I'm really excited. If the humidor comes out the way that I want it to, and the way that I've talked to my nephew Jaime's son Handi and the box maker in the factory, People are gonna shit themselves. It's really fucking cool. I'm really hoping that they can pull it off. But we're talking about 7 of those humidors.
And I think
The
Abe's
tough part
keeping
is,
one.
the tough part is, Abe's keeping one. 6 of them are going through the NFT process. The tough part about the whole project is telling the factory, hey, listen, I only need 400 of these cigars. They're like, what?
So it's going to run the same way that LFD is doing theirs, though, correct? It's going to be every quarter? Well, I know they're doing every month, but you guys are every quarter with that?
It's every quarter. Did Abe tell you anything more about what was going on with the package?
So I
Because
can't.
I don't want to leak anything, because he's got a package put together for this whole thing that's just way over the top.
Well, he said something about he has an artist.
Yeah, he's mentioned
multiple
paintings,
artists.
I think.
Yeah, he's got some.
And I
he's
think
got some
the
people making some
humidor.
art that are going along with it. That's about as specific as I can remember.
Yeah, he hasn't gone.
Each one, I won't go into details too much, but each one has a specific art for each NFT. And like, I never asked Abe. I'm like, which one are you keeping?
It's a good question.
He's gonna wait till he sees everything at the end, and then he'll see. Is he gonna keep one, or is he gonna keep 7, or is he gonna keep?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he probably
feel like
should keep 7, right? He
Yeah.
should keep number 7. That makes sense. The reality is he can't bid on it, so that would be horrible. That would be betting against, that would be like betting against like the WWF, which I heard is like something they're trying to get.
In terms of the,
we don't know who's going to win.
in terms of the blend, like, are you pretty much just gonna be basing it exactly off of that initial release? Obviously, it's many years after it. Like, do you feel like
many years after? Like you said, I mean, tobacco changes, so I tried to put it together in a certain way based off the original format.
Yeah.
And then what we call the Pale Horse is a completely different cigar with a different wrapper. And there's, again, those. How many are there? There's 15. There's only 15 times 7, so there's not a lot of cigars.
Yeah, small production, but I think that'll be an epic release for sure. That'll be. Do you guys have even like a slight time frame on? Is it like this year, next year?
It should be probably towards late spring, early summer.
Okay.
Yeah, I told
Awesome.
Abe that I apologize, but we're gonna end up having to push these until this date because 1, I want to make sure the cigars are ready, but 2, I want to make sure that the humidor is lights out. So
Right. Yeah.
Now,
go ahead, Mitchell.
is he usually in the box factory working on that stuff? The son?
Handy's kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm. That's cool that you're gonna have that in the family too, right? You guys have so much access to everything. It's great.
Well, Handy, obviously my wife's nephew, my nephew, Jaime's son, he's kind of taken over that, the reins a little bit to help his dad more around the factory. So he's full time in Nicaragua now. The first thing about Handy when he came from Cuba, first job he had to do was to go to college. Yeah. And once he was finished with college, he went straight to Nicaragua.
Oh, that's super cool. That's awesome.
He's heavily involved. He knows the business. He knows tobacco like the rest of the family. I think he's going to do a stellar job carrying on the hard work and the tradition that the factory has already proven. So
that's good to hear. That is awesome to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm excited about that one. I'm excited to see kind of how it goes. I mean, we saw what LFD did with theirs, so, obviously there's a lot of eyes on this one as well. But like you said, Abe, is kind of a genius with this things, right? You know,
Abe's definitely the mastermind behind this,
so
for sure.
very excited to see what he has up his sleeve on this, because it sounds like it's going to be even bigger than what we've already
Well,
seen.
if I can speak for Abe, he said to me, he said, if this doesn't work, it's the end of any NFT ever in the cigar industry. Like, this will be the last one if this doesn't work. So
Yeah.
we're hoping for good things, but the package he's putting together is amazing.
Now, outside of the NFT, which obviously we'll see later this year, I know you guys don't do TP. We didn't see a TP a few weeks ago. You guys are doing TAA. Next thing is PCA. So, are you guys planning to introduce any new products at PCA this year, or are you still gonna kind of hold back a little bit and kind of work through everything you already have on your plate?
No, we have, it's our 20th anniversary, so we have a couple
Oh, that's right.
cigars
I forgot about
that will be on
I was just going to ask
display.
about that.
Obviously, to celebrate the 20th anniversary. I can't go into details. There is something very cool coming, but I'll just leave it up in the air.
Yeah. You don't want to give it away yet.
So the crazy part is that I have, so the few things that I'm doing 2 separate 20th anniversary releases. But I don't know if you noticed that every time I do an anniversary, like 5, 10, or not 5, I didn't do a 5-year anniversary, but 10, 15, 20, I've always left those particular cigars in the market, like always production,
Right.
just to celebrate those years. So the 10-year anniversary was, it's made in Nicaragua. The 15th anniversary is made in Miami in very small productions, and I make a batch every year, maybe 2 years. There was about a 2-year gap between the batches between the first time I released them and just recently, where we just had inventory show up in Los Angeles. The 20th anniversary will be the same way. The 20th anniversaries that I'm doing in Nicaragua, there's 2 of them, will actually be out ahead of the 20th anniversaries that I'm making in Miami. They'll both be regular production, but they'll depend on, production flow.
Availability.
Miami, obviously, a lot more scarce than the Nicaragua one, where I hope to have it out there full time, very similar to the 10-year anniversary. The 20th anniversaries with the packaging and the cigars, I would say, might show up sometime in 2024.
Okay.
So on my 21st anniversary, but that's okay because I'm not in a hurry, because I have cigars here in Miami that I made in 2019, 2020, and 2021 that I'm going to release this year. So
Okay.
I have a cigar that I boxed in December of 2020 that was made in 2019, and they've been resting, and those will be out sometime later this year. But there was only 5,000 cigars of 2 sizes. And then I have a thing called Plus One that I made in 2021, was boxed in 2022, might come out sometime this year. And then we have 2 releases that I made a bigger production, 1,000 boxes of 25 of each. So 25,000 sticks that I made in Miami, 2 sizes that will turn 2 years old, but 1 year old in the box, because we boxed date stamp everything, and the date stamp on the box is the day we boxed them.
Okay.
So those will show up probably. I'm hoping to see something with those probably June. Give them a year in the box, but the date stamp was May of 2022.
Pete Johnson, Jay Davis said, Pete, don't tell them about Plus One.
Well, Jay doesn't want me to say anything because there's only, what was it? There's only 5,000 cigars.
Yeah.
And that is actually labeled like the 15th anniversary, but with the Escasos label.
Okay.
And my hopes is to do another batch and another batch later on down the line. But the first batch yeah, there's only 5,000 cigars, and I even joked with. I think I joked with Jay. I said maybe I should just make it a Texas release.
That would be good for Jay, I guess, being in Texas. But Jay's
Hey,
my
by
guy.
the way, did I cut off for a second because my computer
No,
is like
No,
trying
you're
to
good, I
show
think.
me an
we haven't
update?
lost you.
Okay, good.
We did have
All
a,
right, perfect.
I wanted to backtrack really quick. We did have a question from David. Any Cameroon cigars coming out? You working with Cameroon tobacco at all?
No, we have some sample Cameroon wrapper down here in Miami that I played with, but it's a very complicated wrapper, and the cigars are good. It's just I'm always fearful with the priming of that leaf because if you go too low, it ends up breaking really easy. It's a very fragile wrapper.
Fragile,
So
yeah.
it's something I'm kind of steering away from right now.
Okay.
So I don't see it in our future anytime soon. But obviously, if I were to do it, I would go with with Jeremiah and his family to get what is considered the best or the truest Cameroon.
The
Now,
authentic.
one of the things I wanted to
Authentic. Thank you.
Yeah, authentic. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I can't remember, was it Coop? Someone made a comment recently about boutiques and legacy brands, and when kind of one becomes the other. I couldn't remember the whole thing, but it kind of got me thinking on something. And especially since you bring it up, you're celebrating 20 years. I mean, you've been around long enough now. A lot of people, I think, consider you one of the OGs of boutique brands, or a guy, a much. And you've told the story, and others have told the story. When you first went to RTDDA in what 2003, whenever your first show was.
The first show was in 2003. Yeah.
And I think it was you who told the story. Back then it was a very all these guys in suits, and you showed up with your tattoos and your T-shirt, and they were like, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Well, that was actually before then, because my first show was in 1995.
Okay, so
my first trade show that I ever went to was in 1995, and that was definitely a different time. I was the only guy on the trade show floor with tattoos. So by the time I came out with my brand in 2003, it was people knew who I was already. The lucky part is that people that knew who I was actually took the chance on the brand early on. There are a couple stores that really got behind me early on. They're still some of my best stores in the country.
Do you think that it's fair to say at this point, with everything that you have accomplished, Les Man, I don't know, Les Man made a comment before. I don't know if you saw it. I'll bring it back up. But Tatuaje for a long time, smaller brand, definitely on the boutique side. But now you're kind of getting to this period where you're becoming more of a legacy brand now. I mean, Tatuaje is now a big name that most people know. Most people have smoked. You've created so many different core lines, limited products. You've done so many things. Are you kind of out of that boutique space now? Are you really considered more of a legacy brand in your opinion? Do you think you've crossed that threshold to the upper echelon, so to speak?
I think when it comes to, like, if we stopped doing limited editions tomorrow, we would still have a very solid core base amongst a very large group of stores around the country. The limited editions we love to do, but if you look at some of the numbers of the things we make, some of them are really boutique. Like, I know that sounds kind of weird, but they're really small production. Like, to this day, the Miami factory, we produce a whopping 1,800 cigars a day. It's not a lot.
No, it's not.
It's a very small production. But yeah, I think it's a little bit more comfortable now, knowing that I can rest my head on core line product and not have to think so hard about doing the crazy limited editions. But the limited edition things are, what we enjoy doing, because we like writing a new song every time we make a new cigar.
But even
it's kind of fun.
But even some of your limiteds are, in a sense, like a core line. I mean, like, for example, your Monster series, right? It's a limited line, but it's also it's
Yeah.
a line that's always around. It's a little different every year.
It's definitely become like a brand of its own for sure.
And it's been
And
very
it's definitely
successful for you.
it's also become one of those things that is almost expected from us. So it would definitely fall into the realm of core line. But we're lucky to have it. It started off as a small batch limited edition. The numbers have increased, but we've been able to branch out the whole monster lineup. So you have the skinny monsters that are on the shelf all year long.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we come out with samplers, like the skinny Lanceros or the Cazador edition. So those are regular production, but like even those samplers sometimes are in small quantities. I think last year we received a whopping like 500 of each of the Lancero edition and Cazador edition of the skinny monster samplers. So not a lot. It's very small production.
Right.
Now,
And
now
then-
talking
So,
about
yeah.
kind of
Go ahead, Mitchell. I'll
Sorry,
let you go.
talking about kind of like those limited but kind of core special releases you're doing, the Christmas Advent calendar. Is that something? I know there was a lot of issues packaging wise the first little bit, kind of getting it out into the market. Is that something you
Yeah.
plan on just continuing from here on out? It's now just like here's part of the schedule, or it's
Nope.
like we did it twice and now we're done because that was just a gong show of.
It was a gong show. We were supposed to be 2 years in a row, and it was 5,000 of each calendar. But then when the pandemic hit and the slowdown with the packaging, we
Yeah.
held the 2021 and released everything in 2022. And I'm going to let it take a break for a while, but I do have a plan for a different version of an advent calendar. We ended
Okay.
up, you find all the problems after you release something for the first time. Actually,
Yep.
I found all the problems with the packaging. Not so much like I tried to make the packaging like there was never one broken cigar. The cigar, the calendar was rigid, so it never bent and broke during shipping. I made sure that there was obviously a tool to open up each window. Like there was a lot of details that went into it, but then after everything was printed and done, I was like, shit, I should have made it fold so it could be compact and smaller to fit into people's humidors. But by that time, it was
Yeah.
done. So I was like, okay, I can't go back in time and redo it. So we have something that we're going to work on over the next year and a half, maybe, that would be a smaller advent calendar based on maybe a different theme. Maybe.
Nice.
Maybe the monsters.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, that it was so interesting that so many like this whole advent calendar thing. It's like no one really did it too much in the industry, and like everyone, or it felt like almost everyone released them all in the same year, just almost accidentally. Like, it was crazy.
It's funny because I came up with the advent calendar concept in 2008.
Yeah, on like a
or-
forum, right?
Yeah, it was on. Why am I blanking on the forum name? Anyway, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name, but it was on that forum, and I posted it. I said, "Hey, I got this idea. If anybody wants to take it, here you go." And no one did it. Like no one did it. And then one day, I got a text message from Corey from Oliva, and he says, "Are you doing an advent calendar?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "We are too." I'm like, I go, "Yeah, but mine's gonna be delayed for a while."
And then I think Abe did one, like right
Yeah.
after that
Yep.
too.
Abe did a very big one. Like
That
talk about packaging. That was, but the cool thing about Abe's is you can actually refill it every year.
I was gonna say his
Yeah.
his was almost like a humidor in itself. You're like almost getting this like humidified, refillable thing.
It's
It
definitely.
was,
I don't know if it's so much humidified. Is it? I don't even remember.
He has
But
like a
it's
compartment in the
definitely
back that you
refillable.
can load it with.
Yeah,
a
he has a
with a
humid.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
It's great.
call me an asshole, but he sent me one. I still haven't opened it.
Oh wow.
I'm collecting it.
There you go,
Um,
pristine condition.
Because you put cigars in that, right? in his.
Yeah, we
Yep.
we all. I think every company.
Yeah.
Like Abe picked, a good group of companies to put cigars in, and I was happy to be in it because obviously Abe's a longtime friend, and I love supporting what he does. That's why I'm so excited about this Anarchy thing. I'm kind of halfway excited though because I still don't understand the NFT shit, and
Fair.
it kind of scares me a little bit, and I'm afraid. I'm always afraid of failure. First of all. So if it does fail, I'm going to blame Abe for everything.
But if it's successful, you're
fair.
going to take all the credit?
No, it's all him, dude. Like, Abe's definitely the mastermind behind this. And I get to make the cigars. That's really where my wheelhouse is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it, but I mean, when that project was announced, I was excited because I mean, I remember talking to Carney about it. I was like, okay, so you guys are done, and it went well, at least for them. I mean, they sold their NFTs, they made just shy of 700 grand, so they're all set. They made their money, they sold their things, and they're selling their cigars. And I just remember saying, so all right, so who's next? And it was funny because Carney threw out some names. And he's like, I could see so-and-so doing it. I could see so-and-so doing it. And then it wasn't too long after we got the PR from Abe saying Smokin and Tatuaje. And I was like, wow. I just remember stopping me like, that's going to be cool. I don't know why I didn't see it coming. And I kind of almost went, I'm surprised that Pete didn't do this by himself. But, hey, this is going to be fun.
Well, do you know why you didn't see it coming?
I don't have the smarts to do it by myself.
I'm pretty sure, like literally the day after the NFT thing happened, Abe was on his show, and I think he was like, "I don't understand these NFT things. Who would ever do something like this? Like, what the heck?" And then literally like a week later, he's like, "I'm coming out with one. Just kidding, guys."
Yeah, and I'm doing
the coolest thing. The coolest thing about the whole situation is that, like, I ran into Lido and the guys in Germany at the trade show, and Lido says, "Hey, if you need any help with this NFT thing, let me know. We'll help you out." And they've been really good with Abe, also just kind of giving him the help with guiding him in the right directions. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave it up to Abe because I have no clue what's going on.
We got a really
Tatuaje cigarettes. No cigarettes.
No. I was gonna say that's definitely a no. But yeah, no. I mean, it's. I believe he's also gonna use the same bidding platform.
Yeah, he actually went to the same company. Yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah. So, which that was a cool platform to use. Yeah, it was cool. The only thing about it that was interesting, and Pete, I don't know if you were following along when LFD was actually in the auction process when each one of those went on. So they did it.
I was watching.
Yeah, so for those who don't know or don't remember, so they launched the first.
Oh, we're live. We're still good.
No, I run the broadcast off of Nicole's computer, and someone tried calling her. I'm gonna put it on Do Not Disturb, and I'm like, what is?
Well, that was the problem with my computer. It wanted to update. I'm like, no, I can't update it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I get this ringing in my headset. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Sorry.
Aliens are trying to talk to you.
But no, it went on sale and they ran 48 hours. So really the action was at the end. So on every other day at noontime is when it was supposed to end. So the only nerve-wracking part about it is when you get within, and I have to ask Carney, but I think it's within the last 10 minutes. Every time somebody makes a bid, it like pushes it another 10 minutes. So like you'll get down to like 3 minutes to go, and someone will put a bid in, and now it's 13 minutes. And then you get back down to like 2 minutes, and then someone makes a bid, and then it's like 12 minutes, and you're like, fuck. So it's like it just keeps going. And the next one, like, because they had them back to back to back, so like now they're kind of going to overtime. So like the second one goes past it, the third one's already live.
That's why it took so long.
Yeah. And then it would just keep going out. So, like, some of them were supposed to end at 12. They didn't end until, like, 1:30 because people just kept bidding at it, and it would just keep going longer.
That's why I remember saying, why isn't it updated? Like, it hadn't updated yet. So like, the other one's still going. How's that possible?
Yeah, so it'll kick it out. So that's, like, the most nerve-wracking part, I mean, for you guys are watching it, being like, oh, like what are we gonna get? It's like you get down to the end and you think like this is it, and then all of a sudden someone throws in like like the minimum bid, and then it kicks it another 10 minutes, and then it's like, all right, so is someone else gonna bid? And then you get almost down to the end, and you're like, that's it, and then oh no, there it is, and updates, and oh, now it's $90,000, out of nowhere. That's like the most intense part of it is just that last like whatever it is, 30, 40 minutes of overtime.
I'll be honest, like not because I'm second guessing any of it, but I just don't see the Anarchy. I mean, yeah, it's a great brand. It's a fun project. But I told Abe, I said, I just don't see it going as crazy as what LaFleur did. Mainly because I think, people kind of got captured in the moment with the LaFleur thing, and it went nuts. I think there's going to be some deals to be had for sure with this one.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I don't think anyone expected what happened with LaFleur. And at the end of the day, again, like I dabble a bit into crypto. There's more with this than just a cigar, right? With the fact of like the NFT and the value of that itself. It's a lot. There's a lot. You could surpass them. Who knows? Anything is on the table at this point because it's so.
I hope
it's so
not.
brand new.
I'm a little scared to see if, like, I don't know. For me, it's like if we actually surpass that, I would feel like I needed to give everybody more, for it. It's just how I am.
What's interesting is a lot of the people who did win LaFleur's NFTs seem to be shops that were really big with LaFleur. They did a lot of business. They carried a lot of SKUs. They do a lot of events. I recognize most of them. They're all stores that Carney's done a lot of events with and stuff like that. So they were really heavy on the brand to begin with. I'm sure, and I know of one in my town, that there's a lot of shops out there that are Tatuaje heavy. So maybe not obviously anything to do with Smokin because that's another retailer. But when it comes to the brand, I'm sure that there's big Tatuaje shops out there that are like, oh, we got to have this because like we're a Tatuaje shop, and I think that's where a lot of those big bidders come from is those shops that are just so heavy. So I mean, you don't
Mitchell,
know.
I like that. I'm doing an atelier also. This is actually a super old atelier that I just lit up. Someone actually gifted me this cigar. It's amazing that I get my own cigars back, but this thing was banging since the first puff, like just absolutely gorgeous. It was the Mad 44, really good.
Great cold draw on this. How much age are on these, Matt?
I think those ones.
Well, let me see the band. Zoom in on the band so I can see it. Oh, that's early. That's
yeah.
I've had those for a while.
Production. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had those for a while.
Cello, can't really tell.
I remember where I got them.
Got a little color to it.
I got them from Kirk Kendall.
Can't really tell.
Well, I mean, the lighter the wrapper, the less yellowing of the cello, obviously. I mean, mine, I crumpled up. You can see.
Yeah, that's brown.
How dark it is. But this is, I think this is like, this might be like 8 years old.
So because
you gotta have.
So because Mitchell lives in Canada, it's my responsibility to have to get cigars over the border into Canada for him because either they're just not available or they're way too expensive up in Canada. So I send frequent packages to folks in the United States who are going to be crossing the border just so that Mitchell can have cigars up there. I don't. Is Tatuaje in Canada?
Nope.
In very small quantities.
Yeah. So I mean,
like at one moment we were, and then we've had.
Oh.
It's tough to break a barrier of a country. Canada with the taxes. But I do get pictures from people with the plain packaging every once in a while. So it's up there, but in very small amounts.
Yeah. Mostly like the brown label cabinet, the core line stuff, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
People love
like
your stuff down here, though.
Oh, okay.
People love your stuff.
Havana 6, but which we don't call Havana 6 up there. We call it H6 because we can't use the word Havana in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, people the core smokers here, the guys who dabble into the non-Cuban stuff, you have a strong name here for sure.
Well,
everyone
I think
everyone loves your
everybody's
stuff.
dabbling into the non-Cuban stuff right now with Cuban prices being
Man.
the way they are.
Oh,
Exactly.
Jesus.
I mean, so Mitchell, what's a Behique sell for up there now?
You mean how do we get a Behique? It would retail.
Well, let's say if you could find one.
Probably close to 200.
No, more than that.
Yeah.
250 maybe.
More than that. They're selling for €300. Like a Behique.
There you go. The thing is,
£300 now.
Jesus.
The thing is like, well, it depends where you are in Europe, because like some European places will do like their own pricing, kind of like to like make up for the rarity, whereas a lot of places here, because it's so price controlled, they actually have to sell it at MSRP. So they really do have to sell it with what Habanos tells them to. They're not allowed to mark up a lot here. Just because of taxes and a lot of those extra things. I've actually never seen a Behique in retail stores. We get such little amount of stuff. It's actually right now even just hard to find a Cohiba Robusto on the store floor. It's
So what's
crazy.
a Cohiba Robusto? If you could find that, what's it sell for? 70
I think the last
70 Canadian dollar or whatever.
It was 65 to 85. I don't know. Again, they just did a new price increase, so I don't know if stores have kicked that in yet. But you're looking at 80, 85 probably, 85, $90.
And here's we had this conversation today. Habanos has never gone down in price, and I don't see, even with their craziness now, they're not going to lower their prices. They're going to keep on going up.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about how the prices over the years just kept on doing this, and then the quality kept on doing this. We want to find that point of the X and fit somewhere in there,
Jay Davis said a box of Cohiba Robusto in Switzerland is over $19.50.
These first few puffs though, this is really nice. I'm getting a really nice nuttiness off of this.
Cool.
I think that age is really bringing through that kind of creaminess, nuttiness, almost like a cashew-like texture. It's really nice.
Yeah, David says the Chinese market is helping Habanos go up 100%.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Their whole price structure is now based off of Hong Kong pricing.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by like.
Well, it's global. It's global pricing too, though.
Exactly.
Like if you look at it. If you look at, let's say, like something like Chanel, the price in London, let's say it's £5,000. Well, it's €5,000 in France, but then it's $5,000 in the United States. It's all like the same number.
Yeah.
If you look at what Habanos is doing, they went straight after that same fixed pricing where if it's 80 Hong Kong, it's £80, €80, that whole thing.
Depends on where you are. They will do a bit of conversion in terms of like currency conversion, a little bit, but it's the price is insane.
Nominal though.
Yeah,
it is nominal.
They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts.
You build on what Pete's saying, and then you go look at countries like Canada, whose taxes on cigars are so high. So you got that $80 mark. Now you got to add all the taxes on top of it. Now you're over $100.
Yep. Well, it depends on where you are for like retail tax and stuff like that.
Dude, it's wild. It's definitely wild how it depends on the country. It depends on where they're getting the product from. For example, like if the UK orders cigars from Nicaragua, it comes in, they pay the normal duty, everything, the whole thing, because Nicaragua is a developing country. But if the UK buys cigars from Miami, which they have, they have to add an additional 26% in duty because the United States is not a developing country. So it's weird laws in every country, and the prices vary a lot. But shit, I have cigars in London right now that are selling for £70.
Even that's crazy.
Well, I will say that there's cigars that no one knows about either.
So stuff that you've made just for that market that we don't have here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Trust me, I don't make the 70 pound. It's just by the time it gets there and the pricing comes out, it ends up being, there's a few that are in the 45 to 55 pound range. But then if you look at like my regular production stuff that they're getting from Nicaragua, it might be in that 20, 25 pound range. Still less expensive than a El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme.
So I just looked up, like, this is one of the places, like, there's a few stores that sell online in Canada that will ship within Canada. So the Cohiba Robusto right now, singles they're doing for $131, and boxes they're doing for $3,300.
Wow.
Cohiba Robusto.
Yeah, and those prices are never coming down.
No.
Yeah. I think eventually people will get sick of paying that money, and then they'll just start sitting on shelves.
And then you'll see more and more people smoking stuff from Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic.
Also, not for nothing, but it's like, you spend a couple grand on a box of Cohiba, and you start smoking through that box, and you throw like, what, a third of that box away, maybe? Because they just don't draw, they don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you pay all that money to throw part of the box away because you can't even smoke it.
Yeah.
It's such a waste.
Yeah, I agree. But, the label.
It is. I was going to say,
the only thing it's going to do is increase the counterfeiting business.
Yeah.
It's very
You're
true.
going to see more and more counterfeits.
Yeah, and it was already a problem. It's just
and I
get
highly
worse.
recommend to go to the beach in the Dominican Republic and buy the glass top Cohiba because that's super real.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
But I was in the Dominican Republic and someone offered me a box of Fuente double chateaus, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my god.
So that happened to me. So I was down in the Dominican back in November with Nicole, and we were actually with Carlito. We were visiting the factory, and then after we were done with that, beautiful. We went to the school, went to the farm, everything amazing. After that, we spent a few days in Puerto Plata, just kind of have some regular downtime, just me and her. Which coincidentally, I think that's where the baby came from. But anyway,
Well done, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. We went down with 2. We came back with 3. I'll tell you, it was that. You know what it was, Pete? It was that Brugalienda. I mean,
it's the rum.
I have a bottle here, actually.
Yeah, that's what did it. But no, I mean, so you're sitting on the beach, and they come over, and they're like, "Oh, come! I have a cigar," and we're smoking cigars on the beach because I mean, we're cigar people.
Wait, you made the baby on the beach?
Not on the beach.
Kidding.
Not on the beach. But they come up to you and they see your smoke, like, oh, I got cigars. I'm like, oh yeah. They got the glass top Habanos. Oh yeah, and they got a glass top Davidoff. I'm like, oh yeah, Davidoff. Oh yeah, Davidoff, big brand. I'm like, yeah. They got all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm all set. And they're like, oh, but come on, you're a cigar guy. I go, I just visited a friend's factory. So I got cigars. Like, oh, what factory? What factory? I said, Tabacalera Arturo Fuente. And they're like, oh, okay, never mind. And they left and they ran away. It was amazing. As soon as I said that, it was like, I don't want anything to do with you. And they ran away. I'm like, oh, okay, see ya.
That reminds me of my first trip to the Dominican. So back in the old days, you had to fly into Puerto Plata.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't fly. You couldn't. There was a Santiago airport, but it was for private planes. And I would have to fly into Puerto Plata. And this is around 1995, 96. I have to fly into Puerto Plata and go like the 2.5-hour drive over the mountain into Santiago. And I remember getting stopped the taxi driver, I was kind of on my own. So like I got a car to take me over, and we got stopped. And I said, everything okay? And the guy goes, yeah, they were just looking for money. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, we call them pirates because there was a police officers, but he goes, we call them pirates. And I go, so what's going on? And he goes, no, I told them who you were here to see, and they left us alone. And they told us that they didn't want to have anything to do with that taxi. Like they're like, yeah, go on your way. And it was because I was down there with Guillermo Leon and the Fuente. So like literally like those are, well, Guillermo's family is huge down there. So they didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's funny though that happened to me. Then that makes sense because it was like they kept shoving them in my face. Oh yeah. I go no. What factory? Arturo Fuente. See ya. And they ran. I was like, okay. Yeah, that was interesting. But it was so funny because I had never been down there. I'd never dealt with it firsthand. I always heard the stories like, oh, they'll get you on the beach. And sure as shit, I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes, and all of a sudden there's like 3 of them. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I've heard all about this.
My buddy Chris is literally laughing at me because I just dumped the rest of this bottle in my cup.
What are you drinking, by the way?
Is that some turkey right there?
Is that wild turkey?
No, it's tequila Ocho.
Oh, tequila.
Oh shit, tequila. Okay.
Yeah, tequila Ocho. It's actually it's not crazy expensive, and it's a very clean tequila. No flavoring, no additives, just really good. And this was like, so that was an añejo. Look at the color. There's literally
that's a light añejo.
Yeah.
There's no caramel or bullshit added to it. Yeah, but it doesn't pick up. They run it through filters, obviously, but it doesn't have that extra added color and added sugars or whatever they want to put in to give it that darker color.
Yeah,
that's why there's a thing called tequila-ized. There's a lot of tequila out there that's full of junk. Like I will tell you one tequila that I thought was horrible, and it's Kendall Jenner's tequila.
I didn't even know that she had a
I can't even remember the name of it. It's horrible. It's like 811. It's 818 or 805 or something like that. It's like cloying sweet. Like just no good. You can taste it. They poured like vanilla extract into the damn thing.
Oh, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's disgusting. I've gotten off of tequila recently. I don't know why. I just kind of lost my taste for it. I always enjoyed it, and then I don't know, it started just not sitting right with me, and I switched over to rum. Now I'm drinking a lot of rum lately.
It's 818. 818.
I'm definitely gonna stay away from that one.
Yeah, don't drink it. Don't drink it.
Well, let me just rephrase that. In my personal opinion, it's not a good tequila, but that's my personal opinion.
That's fair. So we're getting towards the end of the show. I know we're running out of time, and Pete, I don't want to keep you too long.
You're good, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to say thank you for being here with us tonight, and just having
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. You're always welcome at the show. I do want to highlight, and I just want to say another thank you to you, because we are only a few weeks away from starting our 3rd annual Cigar Family Charitable Foundation fundraiser raffle. And Pete, I'll let you kind of chime in on this a little bit because I don't really know much, and I know it's going to be a mystery. But so Pete has graciously decided to be involved again with us this year, and he's going to be part of this. So there will be some Tatuaje up for grabs, but it's going to be a mystery.
It's going to be a mystery pack. Because you actually hit me up, and I said absolutely yes. But I told you I just didn't. I have so many things going on in my head right now that I'm, with family stuff, with the 20th anniversary, everything going on. I was like, just put it up like it's. I'll make sure I send like an epic pack to someone.
Yeah.
I just needed some time to think about other stuff, and so if you do bid on. Is it a bid thing or is it an auction? How do you do it?
It's just a general raffle. So any ticket they buy, they get they get selected to win any of the prizes. So
Okay, so if you end up winning the Tatuaje package, just know that I'm going to put together something really fun, cool, maybe some odd prototypes that I have laying around, or some rare cigars that don't exist, and then of course some swag. Again, this is from my personal stash, not from the company. It's always from my personal stash, but I'll make sure that the person who wins that particular prize is taken care of.
that sounds
Just
really
give
cool.
me some time. It might take a few weeks, so just when. By the way, when's the raffle?
So it starts March 17th. And
Purchasing.
And when does it end?
And it ends April 24th. 23rd.
Okay, so give me until May.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it runs all the way to the end of April, but yeah, whatever time you need, that's fine. And whoever does win that, I'll get you the information. You can send it to them. Whatever you end up doing, that's fine.
Samantha Nicole is talking about Dos Maderas. I have a bottle here in the house, and it's fabulous. Fabulous rum.
I've never had it, but I'm going to definitely check that out. Thank you, Samantha, for letting us know.
Dos
Because
Maderas.
I've definitely been on a rum kick lately, so I'm open to any suggestions. But no, Pete, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And as soon as it goes live, we're going to put it out, and everyone will know. I'll make sure you guys all hear about it too, so you guys can see it and track it and whatnot. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, and then kind of highlight that. Other than that, I think we covered everything I wanted to cover and then some. So just thank you for being here, Mitchell. As always, thank you for being here with us. Mitchell, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to ask Pete or anything before we let him go.
No, it was
You
great
got
having
one
him on
more
here.
chance for a whole year.
I know. The time is now.
I'll see you at PCA.
Yeah, Mitchell will be at PCA with me, so
Oh, awesome.
you'll get to.
Then I can introduce you to my wife and tell her that you're Michael Bublé's first cousin.
Exactly.
No, but we'll definitely.
I swear to Mitchell, I swear to God, when I tell her this, like at the show in front of you, she will walk away in embarrassment. She will just turn her head and walk away. But
I'll make sure to get him. I'll get him on video call.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just FaceTime him. Be like, Michael, I have someone that needs you to talk to.
Do you remember who this is?
David, yes, let's go on a tequila and mezcal tour. Absolutely.
I would do that in a heartbeat. Are you kidding?
I'm not a huge mezcal fan, but
I guess
tequila,
apparently I'm
yes.
not invited.
I know he left out Mitchell. And the thing is
Dang.
with Carney, Carney doesn't really drink a lot of liquor. Carney's thing is just wine. So I don't know. I don't know if he would.
He does. I always see him with a glass of wine.
Oh man, it's not a glass. Pete,
But it's
Pete,
good.
It's a bottle.
It's not a glass.
Well, no, dude. I had a bottle for lunch. What are you talking about?
It's always
That's how you do it.
steak and some kind of fancy vegetable, and then a bottle of wine, maybe two. Last week he posted something he made.
Fancy vegetable. I love that.
I don't know if you saw. He posted on Facebook. So
Like artichoke hearts or something.
So last week they did the launch for NFT number 7 at Cigars on the
I
Ave,
saw that.
and he did all the
Yeah.
food, and he made mashed potatoes, and he covered it with saffron. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's
Wow.
pretty fancy. Yeah, there's a photo
Yeah,
of it.
I joked with him and I was like, it's $100
Well,
a
the mashed
spoonful for that mashed
not
potatoes.
So fancy, but the saffron for sure.
Yeah, and he covered it with saffron. So I'm like,
Because
that's,
isn't like a teaspoon of saffron worth like $100 or something like that?
it's like $20
Yeah, it's-
for like a jar.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like a little pinch, and he had like probably 2 jars worth of it on that, and I was like, damn, that's a lot of saffron. That's expensive.
Awesome.
Yeah. So fancy vegetable is where that came from. But no. So he mostly drinks wine. But yeah, I would do that totally. I would totally do on that. But Pete, no, thank you for being here tonight. I don't want to hold you up for too long. I know
You're
have,
good, man.
Big,
I mean, you're an hour and 31 minutes, but I honestly, my buddy's actually doing work.
oh,
Fixing the
Plus,
house.
he's like, he's got to Uber back to a 200-foot yacht, so I think he's good.
oh, okay. He's not hurting too bad. Carney's here. Carney just chimed in. David Wayne, I'm in. The Carney signal has been illuminated. Okay, so just say his name. He'll show up. Man, this has been a good show. Guys, don't forget to visit smokintabacco.com for more news, updates, reviews, and otherwise good stuff from the cigar industry, including information and the link to the raffle page and all the information for our Cigar Family Charitable Foundation raffle that starts March 17th. Maybe I'll start it a few days early if everything's ready to go, which it almost is. I'm just going to get the last set of prizes in there, mostly all the Fuente stuff, which I should have in there by the end of next week, maybe early the week of. But it's just about ready to go, so who knows, maybe a few days early. But March 17th for sure is definitely the kickoff date, and last year we did $25,500 on our own before the Fuentes matched the other half. So
amazing.
That brought the grand total of $51,000 last year. So let's try and beat that. That's all I got. People keep asking, what's the goal? What's the goal? And I'm like, let's just raise what we can. But you know what? Hey, if I can do 26,000, it's a success, I guess. It's a success if it's 10 grand, 5 grand. But you know, it all goes to a good place. Pete, I know you've been to the school as well, so I know you know.
I actually went to the farm probably in the earliest years of that. So there was a very long time ago, the last time I've been to the Fuente facility.
Yeah. It's amazing. Now they had plans. They were showing us plans when we went for a performing arts center. I mean, if anyone ever gets a chance to go, it'll change your life.
It's an amazing family, amazing group of people, and what the Fuentes and the Newmans have done for that, you know, multiple villages, actually multiple towns in the Dominican Republic is by far above and beyond. So congrats for donating so much. I hope you kill last year's number.
Me too. Thank you, Pete. I mean, it's just an honor to play some kind of role in it. So
with these epic prizes, you know, it's people want to support.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So just like I said, you know, I guess ideal just beat last year, you know, so that just means everyone has to get together and come out and just donate a little bit of money and you know, hopefully we can do that, and it'll be exciting. So I know the Fuente and Newman families, they appreciate it, as well as the kids and their families who live in that region in Banao in the Dominican Republic. I know that they appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea, like, just what that money does for them. It's huge. It is. I mean, even the littlest things that we take for granted every day, you know, it's a struggle for those people. So what this money gives them, it just allows them to live just some kind of life. And
awesome.
That's a big deal. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who donated previously, and we're excited for this year. Pete, thank you once again. And
you're welcome.
We will see you guys next week. Take care.